Hi everyone, and welcome to the Taurus January through February 2023 weekly illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So hi everyone and welcome. This reading is going to take a look at the energies for the week for you, Taurus. We're going to be looking at what you're bringing into the week, what's going on around you, and then any blocks, challenges, and opportunities that you can take advantage of. So let's jump right in. Taurus, let's see what you're bringing into the week here. I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend, that your week is off to a good start. We have an incredible Leo full moon this upcoming weekend, so I hope you're all getting prepared to kind of let your lion-hearted best self shine. It's going to be an emotional full moon for those of you who are kind of in tune with the moon cycles. But it's an emotional one because it's where we get to kind of release parts of ourselves that maybe we had to cling to protect the innermost parts of who we were. And now we get to kind of let those parts out. We get to kind of release the mask and bring forth ourselves. And looks like the energy here is kind of supporting that for you guys, Taurus, this week. So we have right off the bat, what you're bringing into this week is the energy of diligent hard work. You're at work perfecting something. The Eight of Pentacles is all about kind of putting your head down and getting that practice perfect. You can see the individual here is just doing one pentacle at a time, and he is very focused on his work. It can be the card of the apprentice who is becoming the master. So it's great energy to be bringing into this week. Now, in your external environment, you have a very loving, supportive energy. In this specific centennial edition of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, we do have this card here, which is more of what I like to call a romanticized version of the Lover's card. This is really speaking to me when I use this deck of romantic love that kind of goes more specific than just the Lover's card that is kind of just love in general. So you do have someone to lean on in your experience this week. I think most likely a romantic partnership or someone who you are very close to in the energy of love who really wants to come in. And maybe you are very focused and dedicated on working on something, on doing all of the hard work. You know, Taurus, you are a sign that is great at doing that. But I do think there's somebody that wants to come in and maybe help a little bit with that. Now, looking at kind of the past energy moving into the present, we have the Knight of Swords, followed by the Seven of Swords, followed by Strength. So I think for many of you, there's something that you really want to discuss or let somebody know about, and you've been kind of tiptoeing around that. The Seven of Swords is a card of avoidance. It's one where we don't want to face something, or we're trying to get away from something. It can be a card of self-sabotage sometimes as well, where we're trying to, in our own mind, not see something. But with the Knight of Swords here, this is an individual who wants to come in and say something. And this energy can be very fast, it can be blunt, but it is one where the individual is sharing their truth or sharing a communication. I'm going to look underneath. Yeah, we have the Three of Swords underneath, which is heartache. And I think for many of you, there's this feeling of wanting to speak to that heartache, of kind of wanting to face it, and yet you've been in a place where you're avoiding doing so. And with Strength coming into the present, it's saying it's time to really get into that lion-hearted Leo energy. Really kind of harness, I think, the energy of the full moon this weekend to get to that place of leaning into someone that's around you for support, to really speak to what you're working on, speak to maybe your vision for the future, but also speak to what your fears are, why you might maybe be holding yourself back, or why you might be struggling a little bit. Because Strength does come in when we have to do something that takes courage, or that takes that kind of grace under fire for us to tell someone what we're going through, show someone what we're going through, or make that hard decision to do something. So keep that in mind here, that there is someone around you this week who really wants to, I think, hear those fears And there's a little bit of the kind of face the music coming through as well. So with the Seven of Swords, it's time to really confront, I think, the part of yourself that needs to speak to the wounding. And maybe for some of you too, this could be where maybe you've hidden the wounds of the past through blunt communication, where this can be, and I know I'm guilty of this. My husband has really helped me be able to communicate in a healthy way about my emotions, about my fears, and those kinds of things. And it took me a long time to get to that place, and a lot of time and effort spent on his part to help me get to that place in a relationship. So keep that in mind, that maybe in the past you had covered up facing those wounds with kind of this blunt communication. And now it's saying it's time to lean in to maybe sharing in a different way. And it's going to help you, I think, really maybe lend a little extra creativity or a spark to what you've been currently working on. Okay, so we have the Seven of Cups as your main point of challenge this week. And there's that Seven of Swords again. So yeah, there's something that you're avoiding. Now, the Seven of Cups can be a card of opportunity. It can be a card where we're looking at a bunch of different options that could be emotionally fulfilling for us. That's what the cups speak to. And yet we're having a hard time picking just one. And it can be a card actually of illusion, where we feel like there's so many of these options outside of ourselves, and yet really what we need to connect with is our cup. What do we need to emotionally feel fulfilled? What are the dreams and the hopes and within our cup that emotionally connect us? Not looking for something outside of ourselves to emotionally connect us to our experience, but what do we need first? And that understanding can help us kind of face the Seven of Swords energy, which is, I don't know what to choose. I'm just not even going to look at it right now. And with Justice coming in at the heart of your reading, that's a beautiful energy. This is what Spirit's asking you to embrace this week, to really make use of, I think, an opportunity that's coming in on the other side here. So Justice is that divine card of balance, harmony, a right being wronged. You know, it is that higher level of fairness and equality. We have the Queen of Cups and the Page of Wands on the other side. Beautiful energy. So I'm going to just see the bottom of the deck, Queen of Wands. Yeah, fire. There's I think there's a part of yourself you've hidden away under this kind of mask of diligently working. Like Taurus, we all know that you guys can go step by step and you can carry the heavy burden and you can just keep going. But there's also something here about getting back in touch with the passion behind, I think, why you've been working at something. And it is going to show you here with the Seven of Cups, I think, where maybe you got a little lost in the shuffle of, but this could be great. Or, sometimes when we're working on something, we're not quite sure where that's going to go or where we can put that into our life experience. And this might be where you've had a hard time maybe committing 100% to something because there's this kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of like, I don't know, would this feel better this would be like if maybe like you're writing a book. Let's put it this way. You're writing a book and you're like, but I could market it towards this demographic, or I could do self-publishing, or maybe I could, start by just going online and posting one chapter at a time, like on Kindle or Nook. Or maybe I shouldn't even finish it at all. Maybe I'll just keep it to the side. And maybe I should actually write a different book that's geared towards children. It's like one of those things where you're sitting here not focused on why did you start to write to begin with. I'm just using this as an example. Why did you start to write to begin with? What was it that filled your cup about that? What made you emotionally connect to your experience? What was the story you wanted to share, and how did you want to share it? And I think that's going to show you what you've been avoiding seeing. It could be, again, with the strength coming in, to be not wanting to face that fear of, well, now that I've finished the work, I actually have to submit it to publishers, and they might not want to publish it. But this is saying, with the Justice coming in, the card of balance is saying, all that hard work is, there will be reciprocity. There's always reciprocity, even if it doesn't come in right off the bat. And this can be where, yes, you may go through a period of time where you don't have that book looked at, where it gets rejected multiple times, but yet have faith that when you really face up to what you've been avoiding committing to, that in the end, it will bring something in. And this might be that maybe after you have 50 different publishers say no, you realize, wow, actually the one thing I needed to do before that point was get an agent, a literary agent. And so then you go back and you start, but it doesn't mean that you don't finish the work first. So there's something here around that I'm getting the feeling of. And justice can also mean a contract. So some of you could be kind of maybe avoiding committing to something on a deeper level. This could be a marriage contract. This could be a work contract. This could be a contract around, again, if we're bringing it back to the example of publishing, something along those lines. And I think for some of you, there's this kind of, I'm going to just stay in the illusion so I don't see what I've actually kind of been shirking. And I think for many of you, what you've been shirking the responsibility of is learning how to communicate about heartbreak and those wounds that kind of haunt us in a healthy way, because on the other side, we have the Queen of Cups. Beautiful energy. This is the archetype of unconditional love, of that mother who has her arms open to all, including herself, and she holds her cup dear. She's not looking outside of herself. You notice her eyes are closed. And it's interesting here that you have a lot of individuals who, you can't see his eyes. His eyes are cloaked as well. She has her eyes closed. She has her eyes closed. The individual here has her eyes closed. There's a feeling of really having to kind of lean into the emotional aspect of yourself. And I think really face those wounds that lie deep within your heart. As we're sitting here moving into the Leo full moon, Leo is a sign that's ruled by the heart. And we are all going to be asked to address our heart space. And this might be a beautiful week for you really to understand that there's something here that needs to be balanced within yourself. And I think that's self-love. It's self-love for what you want to achieve in your life, self-love for your needs to be met. This could all also be communicating about how some need of yours is not being met. If you're working diligently on something, this would be sitting here and openly honoring your cup, honoring what you're creating, honoring, if let's say this is working on a business, working on a household even, this would say, leaning into your partner around you to say, in my last relationship, I worked so hard to keep a beautiful home and it wasn't honored. The other person didn't provide any support, and then I lost it all in the divorce. And so now I'm afraid, I keep putting all this time and energy in, but it doesn't emotionally fulfill me now because I'm afraid of what happened in the past. And this is saying it's time to balance that out with speaking to that with your partner, having that open emotional communication. Or if you are writing a book and you say, I need that extra time to write that book, but I'm afraid because the last time I did this, it all came to nothing, or I didn't have the courage to submit it to publishers. And this is saying, lean into the individual around you who can help you do that, to bring something back into balance. But allowing you to honor your cup, to love yourself, love what you've been working on, and honor the dream as well, the intuition that's attached to what you've been working on. Because then we have the Page of Wands at the very last point here. And this is a beautiful energy of, as you can see, this individual going out and just having fun, playing with your passion. And I think for many of you, the individual in your life might be the person who could help kind of show you the way to say, maybe you've gotten a little too serious here. Yes, you have wounding and heartbreak. And yes, the past maybe is haunting you a little bit, but we can face it together. I have faith and trust in what you're working in. Now let's go out and make this fun. If you're writing a book, let's go out and you remember what you used to do. You used to go to a coffee shop and you used to daydream about how you'd write that novel someday. Well, how about we go out to that coffee shop and we bring our laptops and let's go out and do that? Or, how about we make cleaning the house a game this week for everybody and let's get the whole family involved. Something kind of like that, where it's getting back in touch with your original why. That's the Page of Wands. Why did it originally feel good? Why did you originally want to do this? Okay, so now let's go back to, I'm going to pull some clarifiers for the Seven of Cups. But don't run from communicating about your heart. I think there's a little bit here, though, about learning with the Queen of Cups to communicate in a different way, not from the head, but from the heart. Yeah, we have the Ace of Swords. I think there's a clarity coming in here, clarity as to where you've, I think, been ignoring, kind of, again, getting lost in the shuffle of all these opportunities outside yourself. And the clarity comes and says, wait a second. There's only my truth. And this could be too. Some of you are running from the truth. You're running from your truth of what you really want. And then this can be where suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I really want. And I'm going to cherish it and love it. But it comes from within. Yeah, we have the Queen of Coins and the Eight of Swords. For some of you, you're feeling, I think, trapped by what you feel you have to nurture. The Queen of Coins, the Queen of Pentacles is kind of the archetypal mother energy of the pregnant woman. She's sitting there. She's diligently focused on putting her time and energy towards something that is going to grow into fruition at some point. And I think for some of you, you're at a point here where one of two things: either you're feeling overwhelmed by your what you have to nurture in your physical experience, and that's making you feel, with the Eight of Swords, trapped. Or you have been diligently working towards something, and there is something here where there's clarity now around if all the options were taken off the table, because we're speaking to emotional fulfillment. If all the options for emotional fulfillment were taken off the table and you were just left with looking in your cup and you said, well, what do you want to put your time and energy towards? What do you really want to work towards? What would you do with this? Then this is stating, where do you feel trapped and how can you communicate that? So if this is like, I don't have enough time. If all things were taken off the table, yeah, the one thing I want to do is publish a book more than anything. And I want to nurture that into fruition. But I can't because I don't have the dedicated time to do that. Or this could say, the family duties are I really want to nurture a beautiful family and home life into existence, but I'm having a difficult time doing that right now because I'm fill in the blank. It could be because I feel like I'm doing all the work myself, or it could be where maybe you're looking outside yourself and you're saying, yeah, but I still need to work. I still need to find, something else that emotionally connects me. And maybe it's just something as simple as just stating to yourself, in your heart of hearts, what is it? If you got past the wounding, what do you really want? What do you really want to bring that hard work and effort into? And what do you want to nurture into existence? And how do you feel right now that you're not supported in being able to do that? Because that's what the Eight of Swords speaks to. There's a lack of support, a lack of seeing the way forward. Eight of Swords, the world. Yeah, beautiful. A major ending. An ending to this type of behavior. Kind of, I think, trying to get away with something, getting away from not leading into the heart space, not communicating from that place, maybe kind of hiding, keeping that heart chakra closed because of the wounds of the past. And this is saying it's a hard stop to that cycle for you guys, which is beautiful, because then we have the Knight of Wands with Justice. It's time for you to be free, to go out and do what feels good. It's interesting. The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands have been coming out a lot in the readings over the past week and a half. And I really think we are getting to this place with the last new moon in Aquarius and now the full moon in Leo. We are really getting to this place of realizing how much we've kept a part of ourselves trapped, how much we have not felt like we were free to just follow our passions. And yeah, we have Knight of Wands and Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is that point where we were brought to our lowest point. We were brought to our knees. And this is that card of balance, saying the balance now is that, yes, you did go through a traumatic time, whether in the near past or in the distant past. But it will be balanced now with a time of freedom. So trust that time is now. And if you can face those wounds, face that time, now look at how far you come since then. Love yourself, honor yourself, and get ready to go out there and simply have fun again. For some of you, maybe you started to take what you were doing a little too seriously. That can happen. I know I've been there, where you're like, oh my gosh, you start to put stressors on like the hobby that you have. And it's like, wait a second, that's supposed to be a fun hobby, not something where you're trying to perfect something and then holding yourself way accountable. Okay. Or, this could even be like where you've been diligently working at a hobby, you picked up a sport again, or you picked up something, and now suddenly, maybe you want to do more with that. Maybe you want to be the person who heads up that, the league soccer or something along those lines, but you don't feel like you can do that. You don't feel like you have that support. It doesn't always have to be something big, like you're starting a business, or it can be something that you just enjoy doing. Now, with the Queen of Cups and Judgment coming in, that's a major change. You have the World and Judgment. Yeah, there's been a major ending here in your life. And Judgment is saying, love the new you. That is what the Queen of Cups is. Love the new person you have become since going through this Ten of Swords. And then you have the King of Wands. Beautiful. That is Leo energy. You have a lot of Leo energy. So either you could have a Leo in your life, but it could also be that you're being asked to embrace this about yourself. The King of Wands is the individual who leads from a place of passion. This is the individual who is the business owner, is the CEO, is the one who shows up and everybody turns their head to look. That is the King of Wands. He is responsible and he is able to kind of take it all on. But he also brings passion. And for some of you, this might be that maybe the turn of events has led you to, you might have maybe in the past, wanted to be the CEO, wanted to be the business owner, wanted to be that kind of energy. And maybe something happened. And so you've been kind of shirking that responsibility of stepping into that again, or you don't see yourself as that. And this is saying with the Judgment, something has changed in your life. You have changed on a true cellular level. And you are much more powerful, I think, than you know. So we have the Page of Wands clarifying the Page of Wands. So that can't, it's almost like now you need to take the person you are now with all of that knowledge of everything you've gone through and almost nurture, mentor your inner child now to go out and have fun. It's an interesting interplay here between the King of Wands, and you have a lot of wands. You have the Knight, you have the King, and you have the Page with double confirmations. This is saying it's time to get out there with curiosity, optimism, youthful faith in what you love to do. This is the true card of play. And this is saying, this is almost like the king sitting on his throne coming down and saying, I'm going to join my children today, and we're going to just kick the soccer ball around for the pure love of kicking the soccer ball around. I remember why I wanted to have a family again. There's something here about getting very in touch with the why behind all of the hard work you've done up to this point in the physical, and learning to love it instead of maybe seeing it as something that is going to keep you trapped. I'm going to see if I can get one more card out there, just since, it's double confirmation. Let's see, okay. And we have the Two of Swords. Yeah, you guys are sitting in this place of, I don't know if I should do that. I do want to go out and have fun, but I don't know. I don't know which one is my truth. And I think right here, you've been running from your truth, running from that clarity. And I think there's an element here of running from a little bit of an avoidance of a major cycle that's come to an end and a new one that's begun. And you might be carrying a little bit of the past with you into this new cycle. And it's saying it's time to face the wounds of the past. It's time to speak them. And it's time to really recognize how far you've come, how a new cycle is starting that's going to involve freedom. But first you have to get back into remembering why you started the work to begin with and get back into just the fun of it all. And that can, to face this kind of emotional wounding, it is going to take strength, and it is going to take you leaning on somebody in your external environment. And maybe you've been doing this. Maybe you've been working with somebody. But there is somebody in your experience that wants to be there for you. And there is a period now of freedom coming in to balance out the time where you did not feel that way. A very difficult time that you went through recently. Okay, let's see its final card. Let's get a final card here for all my lovely Tauruses. What does Taurus need to know about this week? Goodness, I know this deck is hard for me to shuffle, but man, usually I like to have the cards just pop out. I might just choose one for the sake of not sitting here for 4 minutes. Let's see, one more shuffle and then I'll choose. What does Taurus need to know? Oh, there we go. Oh, I love it. Whale spirit. Trust the great mystery, number 65, breaking down to master number 11. The gateway between what can be or what is and what can be when we co-create and have faith in spirit in a divine plan. So I love that it says trust the great mystery. So maybe many of you are sitting here, maybe you're disappointed too with how things turned out. I worked my butt off for something and I didn't get the return on my investment. This is saying you will. That's what justice is coming in at the heart of everything, but you have to trust. You have to trust that everything you went through up to this point was leading you to something much greater than I think even you had originally anticipated when you first started out here. Yes, and we have the Fool. Beautiful. This is a fresh start. So we have the World saying there's a hard stop, a hard end, and the Fool is the beginning. This is the number 0 in the tarot. So this is where the new you gets to take the first step into the unknown. And that can be scary, that can be very scary when, something in your life has changed in a dramatic way. And now, you can't go back to who you used to be. And I know I'm a Taurus sun and I have a Taurus Mars placement, so I'm going through this with you guys. I truly understand. But it can also be really fun at the same time, because it's almost like when you think about it, the slate has been wiped clean and now you get it's like I always think of the line from Anna Green Gables that, every day is fresh with no mistakes in it yet. And it's kind of like that you get to step forward as the new you, and you get to kind of leave all the baggage behind. That's what the Fool speaks to. It speaks to that freeing sense of he's not carrying 100 pounds of luggage with him. He just is ready to take that leap, and he knows spirit will catch him. And yet, 4 of Pentacles, yep, that's where you've been holding yourself back. You've been holding yourself back from just taking the leap into the unknown in a new way, in a way that leaves behind everything. There's a beautiful chance for you this week, Taurus, to just literally almost like cut the tie to the past cycle that you've been through that tied directly to this 10 of Swords. And you get to really now commit to in the physical, because these are pentacles here. You get to commit in the physical to the fresh start with a new sense of faith, optimism, and openness. And that's what the Page of Wands, double confirmation here. That child within will be protected. This time, it's time to go out and have fun. This time, you get to have that sense of adventure and freedom. Everything that you work towards is not lost. It just now is going to be utilized in a different way. If you can make peace with the past, with the wounding, learn how to communicate that in an emotionally open way with the individual who's here to support you, and get ready to trust in that great mystery. Get ready to walk through that doorway, that master number 11, that portal into what can be when you let the hurt and the pain go, and you get ready to have a time of abundance and fun and joy and play. I will leave it there for you. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. Enjoy the new moon. I will do a new moon reading as well for all signs. You can keep an eye out for that at the end of the week. But if I don't see you there, I will see you next week in next week's illumination reading. And if you'd like to book your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Bye, Taurus.